try and disable some of the anarchy bombs that are out in the city this night.
The plague of corruption that now infests this once crowded city.
Damn it, the bombs are still active. There must be a second failsafe detonator nearby. I don't have much time.
So, guarding these bombs is another new enemy type that we want to talk about, the martial artist. We created the martial artist explicitly to challenge the player's free-flow combat ability. In previous Arkham games, Batman could counter, but only Batman could counter. Well, the martial artists can counter your attacks, and then you can counter their counter-attacks, and then they can counter your counter-attacks. So it creates this really interesting ebb and flow of two martial artists, two martial art masters, sort of fighting back and forth, and how the sort of energy and dynamic will shift. And you'll notice it really changes the feeling of the fight. So let's watch Anthony defeat these martial artists in order to get access to Anarchy's bombs.
How many hospital bills is Batman cost?
So with the martial artists defeated, we are finally free to disable these bombs. Now in the final game, there are bombs like this situated all over the city. Batman goes around and disables all of these bombs. That allows him to triangulate the location of Anarchy's headquarters. You go to the headquarters, you find Anarchy, there's a great confrontation, a great fight. It's actually one of my favorite moments in the game. But for the sake of this demo, we're going to return our attention towards our primary objective, trying to reach the Royal Hotel, where we believe we will find Black Mask committing an arms deal.
At the DC booth where Arkham Origins is, we're having a demo going.
The city's a war zone. We can save whatever we want. Assassins show up and control by some black mask guys. Anything goes. Survivors. No survivors. Someone will pay for this. I need to set up a crime scene to find out who.
So finding out what happened to that helicopter allows us to showcase and talk about one of the other major innovations of this game, which is our new case file system. We really wanted to reinforce the fantasy of being the world's greatest detective, one of the core fantasies of being Batman. And so with this modified case file system, when you arrive at a crime scene, and there are crime scenes like this all over the game, most of which are optional, but some of which are on the core path, Batman can use the sensors in his cowl to 360 degrees scan the environment around him, pulling all of that data and piping it back to the supercomputer in his Batcave, the Batcomputer, which is running simulations, crunching numbers, trying to figure out exactly what's occurred, and then uploading a digital recreation of the events of that crime scene, which will superimpose upon Batman's vision so that you can look at these events take place in a sort of augmented reality style. You can fast forward and rewind through the events, slowly positioning yourself at any angle in order to figure out exactly what happened. Piece it together, piece the crime scene together, find the clue that's going to lead you to the next step of the puzzle, and then ultimately, when you've figured out who committed the crime, you go out into the world, you find them, you bring them to justice, Batman style. So let's see now what happened to that helicopter, who caused it to crash, and what becomes of that.
helicopter's tail rotor was severed when the fuselage hit the building. I should review the crime scene and find that tail rotor. The helicopter crashed when a high-powered round shattered the tail rotor. The ballistics analysis will lead me to the shooter's position. This doesn't add up. This man's a member of SWAT. So why'd he fire on a police helicopter? This man didn't fire at a helicopter. He was aiming at me. The ballistics trace indicates this officer was killed by a ricochet from the same round that took down the chopper. There's only one person capable of a shot like this. Deadshot. The trajectory analysis will lead me to Deadshot's firing position, but that'll have to wait. I need to get to the Gotham Royal and find Black Mask.
So Deadshot, one of the assassins, is out there, and if you know the story of Deadshot, he's the world's greatest sniper, but it's too easy, He never just shoots a straight shot. He's always got to make it harder for himself. So he'll bounce bullets off the walls and stuff like that, just to give himself a challenge. So in the full game, you would set off, you would track him down a couple of steps later, ultimately you would finally have a confrontation with him in his headquarters. You have a fight against him, obviously, being a sniper, it's a challenging fight. You defeat him, that's one less assassin out there, one less assassin trying to collect the bounty on your head. But again, for the point of this presentation, we're going to make our way into the Royal, and this gives us an opportunity to show and talk about the final major feature of this presentation, the remote claw. So this is an all-new gadget that's particularly powerful in Predator rooms. It fires a claw, projectile that fires a claw and will latch onto one object, and then shoot a claw attached to a high tensile steel cable that'll attach onto another object. Those two objects can then get pulled together. You can attach two thugs, you can attach an explosive barrel to a thug, you can attach a thug to a gargoyle, you can attach two gargoyles. There's a lot of possibilities, and as you'll see in this room, in the hands of someone who knows what to do with it, it can be incredibly powerful in the Predator room. So we're going to showcase just how powerful this gadget can be when it's fully upgraded in this room right now. That's my next stop. So with that room cleared, we're we're now free to make our way to the penthouse where we think we will find Black Mask. But our story has a lot of twists and turns into it. Everything's not quite as simple as I've laid it out to be. And so we're going to turn up the volume as loud as we can and let this final cinematic presentation tease you guys and hopefully set your imaginations.
Nice of you to drop in. Just in time. He's my dinosaur. Remember, you gave your word.
You have 1 minute.
Do they even have mammals where he comes from? You see, it's a tradition in my house to open one present each on Christmas Eve. How about this one?
How many lives did you just take?
None, I think. That was just a little stocking stuffer. A construction site blocking my view. But this one isn't.
So that's Batman Arkham Origins. If you want to get a chance to play it yourself, you have 5 opportunities to do it. There are 2 stations right behind me over there, 2 stations at the Sony booth at the other end of the floor, 1 station over at the WB booth at that end of the floor. It comes out worldwide October 25th on the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, the PC, the Wii U. 5,000 copies. Thank you very much.